Today we're making a passata, which is a traditional tomato sauce, and it always happens at the end of the summer season because there's a glut of tomatoes. And we buy the Roma tomatoes to make this passata. My mother and father, every year we used to have a great big party with making the tomatoes and the salami, and I used to think it was a goddamn waste of time myself. But anyway, I followed the tradition and introduced it to my staff over the years, and we make enough for the whole year. And the first step is the night before we prepare the tomatoes by washing them and laying them out on a bench to dry. The next morning they put a lot of pots on the stove for the water to boil, so they can blanch the tomatoes just to remove the skin slightly. And then they take them out and then we put them through the machine. At home you would use a lot smaller quantity than what we do. We normally would split the tomato at the top with a cross on it, and then once it's ready to be taken out of the water, you'll see the tomato, the skin actually peeling back. So you take that out of the water and then put it aside and take the skin out by hand. You have to do them manually, and then put them through a food processor or a vitamizer and make sure that there's no seeds in them, or you'd have to strain them through a sieve, get the seeds out of them. The bottling. But you've got to make sure that the bottles have been sterilised. And if you're at home, you could probably sterilise the bottles. You could use beer bottles, whatever bottles, or you can buy jars if you want to. We used St. Pellegrino's recycled bottles from our restaurant. An easy way to sterilise them either is put them in the oven at a low heat, about 80 or 100 degrees, for about a good hour, and that will sterilise the bottle. Or otherwise you could boil them. And you have to boil them for about 15 minutes. And once that's done, then you can pour the tomato into them. And then you could add herbs to them, whatever herbs you like. You could, we're pretty basic. We use basil and garlic. The next step, you've got to seal them. We buy the caps for them. And there's a special machine that you have to bring the top down so they are sealed properly, otherwise they'll go sour. In the restaurant, we boil them up for about half an hour to 45 minutes to make sure they seal and preserve the tomato that are inside. At home you would do the same in a smaller pot, put a cloth at the bottom and then boil them for 45, it all depends on the flame of your stove, how fast it can boil, but once it starts boiling, just turn your gas down and let them just tick over. We take them out of the pots, let them cool down and then store them in boxes or crates in a nice, dark, cool place. We store them for about a year. It only lasts for a year, but they last for a good couple of years. We use the tomato at the restaurant basically for our braises and some of the sauces for our pasta dishes. And later on we're going to make a gnocchi dish. We'll show you what to do with the passata. But there's various things you can use it. Just, it doesn't have to be just tomato. We add it to a lot of our braised dishes and make a lot of sauces. So this was something that we did every year. My aunties, all my aunts, the relatives, all made conserva, and they still do now. My cousins still make it. I phoned them the other day and I said, "Have you made your tomato?" They said, "Oh yeah, we made ours 4 weeks ago." So.